What are you trying to say?
I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Welcome to Cliff Notes Continued, where we improvise the stories authors are too lazy to write. I'm Lucas Larson.
And I am Ananya George. Oh, that.
I don't know.
Okay,
I think that's
cool.
it. I think that's it.
That's it. That's our intro.
Okay. That's our intro.
Wait. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome, everyone.
And we're about to find out what Andy's mystery book pick is for the week.
If we did the math correctly, that is.
Yeah. We might be getting 2 Andy book picks in a row. We're not really sure.
But hey, this is the quality content you come here for. So this week I picked. Are you ready for this?
Never.
Okay, a book that I was supposed to read in middle school, but I never read, and just went through middle school like,
You
we're
just read the
reading.
Cliff Notes. Like, we can't do Huckleberry Finn. We can't do
No,
Huckleberry.
no. It's not. It's not. No. I went to school not in America, so I didn't have to read Huckleberry Finn.
Okay.
It's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen.
I think I was supposed to read that at some point too in my life, and I never have.
Hey man, now we're reading the Cliff Notes and we're making up the stories. Glad to know that as adults we can conquer the dreams that we had once as kids, or conquer the dreams we were supposed to have as
Yeah,
kids.
we could also not read it as adults, but
I don't know about you, man, but if our story is pretty cool, I might read it as an adult.
yeah, read the transcript of this. It would just be like incoherent. Like, how I don't know how they would like type out my laughter.
Oh, you're talking about our
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Like,
Oh, no. I'm talking about like the book.
oh, okay. Well, that's more. That is more work than I would go through. So, start us off on the Cliff Notes, Andy.
Okay. When Charles Bingley, a rich single man, Charles Bingley.
Yeah.
You might have to cut parts of this out. Moves to the Netherfield estate. The neighborhood residents are thrilled, especially Mrs. Bennet.
Miss Bennett has eyes for Mr. Bingley, and
Oh no.
okay.
No, I jumped the gun. Who hopes to marry one of her 5 daughters to him. Great, so we know what the first storyline is going to be.
Yeah, maybe he has eyes for him.
Yeah. When the Bennet daughters meet him at a local ball, they are impressed by his outgoing personality and friendly disposition. They are less impressed, however, by Bingley's friend Fitzwilliam Darcy, a land-owning aristocrat who is too proud to speak to any of the locals, and whom Elizabeth Bennet overhears refusing to dance with her.
Fitzwilliam is a real prude, real asshole. Okay.
Yeah, sounds like somebody I know. We know, actually. You know what I'm talking about, right?
But he's not a prude anymore. I don't think.
Well, he used to be our sound engineer, so
Yeah. So if you know deep cut, if you super deep cut.
dude.
If we have any Badly fans here, I will be shocked.
Complete side note: this is 100% always in my calendar as badly. I haven't even put Cliff Notes continued on it. It's always marked as badly.
You know, the grown-up child of Badly. So, Bingley and the oldest Bennett daughter Jane, soon form an attachment. Any serious relationship between the two, however, is opposed by Bingley's sisters. Oh my god, even more characters.
Oh
Okay.
God, Jesus!
Uh,
I'm sorry.
okay. And then who do not approve of Jane as wife for Bingley because of her mother's lower status, even though she lives in an estate. Like, what the hell are these prude assholes? Okay. And by Darcy, who believes that Jane is indifferent to Bingley. Meanwhile, Darcy finds himself. Is Darcy? Oh, yeah, Darcy's the Fitz dude. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sound engineer Darcy.
Yeah. Fuck Darcy. Um, yeah. Darcy would consent now, but not years ago. Okay. Darcy finds himself attracted to Elizabeth despite his objections to her family. He is drawn to her spirited wit and expressive eyes, and Caroline Bingley's jealous criticisms of Elizabeth can do nothing to lessen Darcy's admiration. I am
Okay,
already lost with all these characters.
okay. So here's what I get. Right,
Yeah.
there's Charles Bingley, who a single rich single man. That's important.
Yeah.
Has a friend named Darcy, but Darcy's a piece of shit. Um, but they meet like Mrs. Bennet, who has five daughters, out of which Jane, the oldest one, is like has the hots for Bingley, right?
Yeah.
And but Bingley sisters don't like sorry, Bennett's Jane's sisters don't like Charles because Charles yeah, because Charles's
Are
mom
there
has a
Jane
lower.
sisters or Charles sisters?
Yeah, Jane's sisters don't like Charles because Charles's mom has a lower status than Charles.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm going to go with all sisters hate everybody.
okay, but Darcy himself is attracted to Elizabeth, who is one of the other sisters,
Okay.
despite the fact that he hates her family.
Okay.
Okay, Caroline. Criticisms of Caroline Bingley, I think, is Charles's mom.
Okay. It sounds like insignificant person, possibly. But okay. Jump back into the cliff notes or fast forward
Okay,
has
okay.
has seen fit.
No, I think we gotta do it, dude. In the midst of Jane and Elizabeth's, do you want to just like do a one paragraph summary of the summary?
Yeah. Well, we've established the characters, and if we establish more characters, I'll be more lost. And I'm like scrolling through this, and it's like Colonel Fitzwilliams and like
William
Wickman's
Collins. Oh,
misfortune,
dude. Fuck it. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT.
or Wickham's misfortune, and
I
like Elizabeth has some like aunts and uncles named like Gardner and Derb. Oh no, those aren't names. Those are like counties.
I have a one paragraph summary.
Okay.
In Pride and Prejudice, the arrival of wealthy Charles Bingley in the Netherfield estate excites the Bennet family, particularly Mrs. Bennet, eager to marry off one of her five daughters. Bingley is taken with Jane Bennet, but obstacles arise, including opposition from Bingley's sisters and his friend William Darcy. Okay, everything we've covered so far. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, repelled by Darcy's arrogance, is drawn to the charming George Wickham. Who the
Okay.
fuck is George Wickham?
I don't know, but he was mentioned in the cliff notes.
Okay,
We just
who
didn't get there
false?
yet. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, who falsely portrays Darcy as cruel. Okay, so there's just a dude who's like Darcy's cruel man. Oh, it's a love story between Elizabeth and Darcy. Sorry.
And Wickham.
Meanwhile,
It's like a love. It's like a love pentagon.
Meanwhile, Elizabeth, repelled by Darcy's arrogance, is drawn to the charming Wickham. Yeah, we covered that. Complications arise with Mr. Collins's proposal to Elizabeth. Now, who the fuck is Mr. Collins? It's
I
just there, I
don't
guess.
know. Yeah.
Uh, proposes to Elizabeth. Jane's disappointment over Bingley's departure to London. All right, so I guess Bingley leaves to London. And Lydia's elopement with Wickham. Now, who the fuck is Lydia?
Pride and Prejudice has hella characters.
Oh my god, what did what mess have I put us into? Uh, this is worse than when we covered one of the Narnia books.
Oh my god. Yeah. So we got Lydia who marries Wickham.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay, wait, who's Wickham again?
The
Oh, you
person
George
Elizabeth
Wickham.
likes.
Right. Elizabeth likes and like painted Darcy as like cruel. George Wickham.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, he's
Lydia.
probably cruel. He's rich and single.
No, that's Charles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Darcy's like the prude.
Then
Yeah.
why the fuck did Lydia elope with Wickham? Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Uh, after receiving a letter from Darcy and a visit to his estate, Pemberley. Oh, estate's name is Pemberley. Got it. Elizabeth's
Okay.
feeling towards him change. After revealing a letter from Darcy, we gotta know what's in that letter.
Like,
Uh,
does this end in like a murder or like a court case or like happily ever after? Like, how does this end?
ultimately, Lydia's marriage is salvaged by Darcy's intervention, and despite societal expectations and Lady Catherine's objections, Darcy proposes again, and Elizabeth joyfully accepts.
So it doesn't even
So
sound like Charles is like a main character. It sounds like it's like all Darcy.
Darcy and Elizabeth, yeah,
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 yeah. But Darcy is the Fitz asshole.
yeah. But I bet like the stories about like how Darcy is arrogant and Elizabeth is not. And so like meeting Elizabeth changed this man, and like the whole story is about how like how like classism is bad. um and yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Classism bad. Guy secretly has heart of gold. A woman finds out, and then they get married.
Okay, we'll see where this goes. So, we'll,
Okay.
I'll go scene or you go scene.
Well, before you start this, I want to mention that I don't know the details of this, but I do know that there's like this weird film genre that showed up in like the mid 2000s, where they took things like Abraham Lincoln and Pride and Prejudice and just set it in a zombie apocalypse.
I cannot guess the movie, Andy. I lose it badly.
Here we are referencing
Yeah.
something
Wha-
most of our audiences wouldn't even know.
1 point to Andy.
But the name of the movie was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
How creative. How creative.
Yeah, so I may or may not be railroading us in that direction.
We'll see. So, are you starting if it's your book or am I starting?
Oh, you start. You start.
Okay, I'll start. We're watching a television monitor, and on the television monitor, there is Charles Bigsley. He looks into the camera and says, "Hi, I'm Charles Bigsley. I'm the bachelor of this episode of Pride and Prejudice." And then he starts to sweat profusely while he mumbles out, "I'm single and I'm rich. I'm just looking forward to meeting everyone." And then he collapses. And while we hear paramedic noises in the background trying to save Charles's life, a new person walks in, sits down, looks at the camera, and says, "Hi, I'm Fitzgerald Darcy."
Go on.
Hi, I'm Fitzgerald Darcy, and I am the replacement bachelor for Pride and Prejudice.
Uh, a The host, George Wickham, walks on the other side of the screen with a long microphone and goes, "But Darcy, you're already married to Elizabeth. You were technically not a bachelor. And also, we're in the late 1800s. What is this thing I'm holding? What is this thing right in front of me looking directly at me? And what is happening right now?" Cut, cut to the inside of a London asylum.
and in the asylum, we have Fitzgerald Darcy in a straitjacket, just repeating, "Hi, I'm Fitzgerald Darcy. I'm the bachelor for Pride and Prejudice." And through the window of his cell, there's an attendant, and the attendant, you can read the name tag, and it says Elizabeth.
Oh my god. What have we done? I'm sorry, Jane Austen. Um
Oh, Gene Austen wrote this? Okay. Maybe the attendant's name should be Gene Austen.
it's really 2023, and Jane Austen, the attendant, is being followed by a camera crew who goes, "This is the patient that inspired the character of Fitzwilliam Fitzwilliam Darcy." Um, and if you walk along with me alongside this row of the cell, uh, this is the person who inspired George Wickham.
And Jane Austen casually shows Wickham, who is doing witchcraft before getting to the observation room. And Jane Austen looks directly at the camera and says, "Truly, how they came here was tragic."
uh, so from behind the camera, what's that documentarian's name? The dude who made that entire movie on like Scientology. Louis Theroux. Behind the camera,
Okay.
Louis Theroux uh goes, how did they arrive here, Miss Austen?"
And Miss Austen is like, "Well, Mr. Darcy was in the most complicated love pentagon I've ever seen in my life." And Wickham was on the losing end of that love pentagon.
Oh, you can read all about it in my book, Pride and Prejudice, which is all about how Mr. Darcy was too prideful.
Pride and Prejudice 2, The Pride Unheard.
This one is the real story behind the first Pride and Prejudice, how these
Yeah,
people ended up here.
has the behind the scenes look.
Of the original Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. So in the original, we had Charles Bingsley, and he seemed like he was going to be important and rich and single. But really, most important thing about Mr. Bingsley is Miss Bennet, had 5 daughters. I actually had secret eyes for him.
And then Louis Theroux asks, "Oh, then why did you include Mr. Bingley in the in the original story?"
He was the shiny object there to distract you, just like he distracted Mrs. Bennet.
Okay, cut to a tea with Mrs. Bennet, as Mrs. Bennet is trying to convince Charles to marry one of her daughters, and that's in quotations.
Okay. Uh, wow. Mrs. Bennet, it is so nice for you to have me over for tea. I just moved into my fancy estate yesterday.
Of course, as she bends over, showing her corset even deeper, to Charles Bingley, while she's pouring her the tea, to a point where like it's overflowing the cup now.
Ow, 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 ow.
Oh, I'm sorry, my dear. Let me pad that down. She grabs like a whole back of Kleenex and starts like patting down his thighs.
What do you have? It's the 18th century. What are you tapping me with?
Oh, I'm just cleaning up the mess here.
Well, so nice of you, Miss Bennet. I thought you were just about to tell me about your 5 very single daughters.
Well, but first, she's wearing like the armless. She's wearing like a dress, so she's like she lowers one of the dress straps from the corner, and someone yells out, "Cut!" Turns out we're on a porn set.
So we're just like movies inside of movies inside of movies. We're like Inception here.
Yeah, turns out we're on a porn set, and the guy and the porn director is like really passionate about the work. He cares about the original text, and he goes, "No, no, no, this is all wrong." Bingley and Bennett never did it.
Yeah, he's like, we're not filming a MILF thing here. We're filming a 5-on-1 thing here.
Okay, bring Bingley out of this. You are not getting paid to show us your boobs. You're getting paid to lead the scene that goes into the other one. Can we do
Yeah,
that?
I need to know that you're a more realistic mother of 5.
Places, everyone. Let's reset the shot.
Wow, Miss Bennett, it's so nice of you to invite me over for tea. I just moved into my estate yesterday.
Why, yes. It's so nice to see you here, too.
Wow.
Here, would you like some tea?
Yes, I would like some tea. Your voice is not attractive at all. I need tea.
Good. And she's just like haphazardly pouring it, doesn't even care, and it's like not even looking at looking at Bingley, but looking at the porno director. Like, is this what you wanted?
The porno director is just giving 2 big thumbs up.
Cut to a an interview of Louis Theroux and the porn director.
I never thought I would get into historical books and into pornos, but sometimes life does crazy things.
Louis Theroux, ever the journalistic documentary filmmaker, he looks over at this porn director and goes, "Yes, but have you ever, within your career, exploited one of your employees?"
Never. Everyone has massive benefits. Everyone gets uh, compensated by the inch. Everything is on the up and up here at historical reproductions porno.
Cut to another set of historical reproductions porno.
Okay, we're we're on the set of Mice and Men.
I don't know what that is, but keep going.
And um, the real large, slow person from Mice and Men, I don't remember his name. He's in the scene with someone named Mice. So we'll have Otis and Mice. And Otis is like, wow, Mice, it is so nice of you to invite me over for tea. I just moved to my estate yesterday.
Wait, Mice says that?
Otis says that to
Okay,
Mice.
okay. And then Mice goes, yeah. I was wondering when we could begin the conversation about men.
I don't talk about men. Last time I talked about men, I strangled them.
Cut, cut, cut. It's all wrong. Otis, you're not supposed to have sex with mice.
No, this is only for tea.
Wait, wait, what? Say that again.
This is only supposed to be a tea scene.
You're not supposed to strangle anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Reset. Do it again.
Wow, Mice, it's so nice of you to invite me over for tea. I just moved to my estate yesterday.
Cut to back to the documentary interview set with Louis Theroux.
And the mystery porn director.
And the mystery porn director. Wait, so Louis Theroux asks, "We've never heard of your work before. Nobody outside of the industry and your sets have really ever known your name. Would you want to publicly tell us your name for the very first time?"
I just go by Darcy, or as most people say, Mr. D.
cut to Jane Austen outside the cell of Fitzgerald Darcy in the asylum talking with Louis Theroux, and she goes, "And that's how he got here."
Yeah. And Jane Austen walks down the corridor and it's back to Wickham and is like, Thoreau, Wickham's story is even more out of this world than Mr. D's. I'm a fan of his work.
I need a minute.
Yeah, laugh into the mic.
No, I what the fuck did we just create?
We just broke Andy's brain, everybody. Or more precisely, Butler 2001 Space's brain.
What did we just create? Holy shit. This is even more complicated than the original Cliff Notes.
I feel like it's very on brand. There's lots of characters, hard to follow.
What the fuck is Louis Theroux doing here? He makes documentaries about serious shit.
This is serious. This is serious business.
What? Come on.
Jane Austen is a literary genius. This is serious backstory.
Okay, before we go on to the next story, uh, can I please point out, and I'm pretty sure literary scholars have already pointed this out, how the girl who gets married to Charles Bingley, her name's Jane. Is that a self insert? Okay.
Probably, it's probably how Stan Lee was in all the Marvel movies. Like, Jane Austen wrote this before movies existed, but she was like, in the future, there's going to be movies, and there's going to be this guy named Brad Pitt, who I'll cast as Bingsley, and I'll play Jane. She was a visionary. She was ahead of her time.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Okay. Back to the story. George, what's his Wickham, right?
Wickham.
George.
Wickham may or may not have a first name.
No, he's George Wickham.
Okay, George.
So George Wickham, he's on in his cell drawing. It's an old timey cell, even though this takes place in 2023. There's like a there's like a parallel universe where mental health isn't as well understood. Whatever.
You mean the current time? You mean
Anyway, so
yeah.
he's in a cell, and there's like gravel in the cell, uh, and he's just drawing a pentagram at the bottom of his cell. And as he's drawing each of the cones, he goes, "That's Darcy. That's me. That's Lydia. That's that's Bingley. Elizabeth. No, no, no. It's all wrong."
Okay, and he's just playing over the pentagram in his head, like over and over. Okay, pentagram has 5 points. you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So he's like trying
What
to
were you
solve.
thinking of?
that's why. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
So he's looking at the pentagram and he's like giving off vibes of someone who's trying to like connect a murder mystery while like attaching string on their wall from like old newspaper articles.
Okay.
And he's got two dots on the pentagram and he's got those circled and he's like, okay, we got Mr. D and Miss Bennett. And we have Bingsley here somewhere, Elizabeth here somewhere, and Lydia here somewhere.
Jane Austen looks at this and she goes, "He's still trying to figure out the patterns towards who decided to oh my god, burp." He's still trying to figure out the patterns of who decided to get married to whom. This poor man, he cannot live with the fact that Elizabeth once cared for him.
And then go back to the cell, and Wickham's now in the fetal position, just uh, muttering, Elizabeth, what did you do, Elizabeth?
Cut to cut to the scene where Lydia is getting married to Wickham as Elizabeth is sitting right in the front row.
um, do you, Mr. Wickham, take Miss Lydia as your awfully what?
Awfully.
Yeah, as your as your wedded wife.
Wickham is staring at Elizabeth in the front row, and in a dreamlike state, he goes, I do.
And Miss Lydia, do you take Mr. Wickham as your husband?
Lydia is staring right at Wickham, and excitedly she goes, yes, I do, I do, I do, I do.
Now, speak now or forever hold your peace.
No
And
one
this
says a
is,
thing. Oh,
yeah.
wait, were you going in a different direction?
You go. You go.
Okay, nobody says a thing. George Wickham and Lydia, whatever your last name is, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may now kiss the bride. George drops Lydia's hands, runs over to Elizabeth in the front row, and starts and tries to kiss her. As the entire group of people there are going, "Whoa!"
Yeah, they
Darcy
sound like they're on a roller coaster. Whoa!
Darcy comes and slaps George Wickham and goes, What are you doing? Your wife's there."
Yeah. Miss Wickham now. We don't need to know her last name. It's now Wickham.
Yeah.
And um, Wickham looks at Darcy and is like, but Elizabeth has my heart. Just
And Lydia's in the back, like, really? We just got married.
and the crowd goes, whoa! Okay.
And then Lydia goes, and I'm about to be a mother. And the crowd goes, ooh.
And Darcy looks at Wickham and says, good luck, bro. And walks out.
With Elizabeth, and then the crowd cheers and claps as they're leaving.
Then um, Wickham turns back to Lydia and is like, funny mistake, right, babe?
The priest. So Darcy and Elizabeth are almost out, but the priest receives a letter from the altar boy, and the priest opens up the letter and goes, "Lydia, your baby, Lydia, you were married to George Wickham, but George Wickham is not the father." The crowd gasps. But then the priest, the guy, the ordained minister or whatever, he goes, "In fact, Darcy is."
Gasp.
and, and Darcy turns around. Elizabeth slaps him and goes, "What?"
And the crowd gives out a cheer. Yeah.
Darcy leaves leaves Elizabeth, runs over to George Wickham, grabs him by the collar, and they both start punching each other.
And just while George is getting his ass kicked by Darcy.
I like how you don't. You're like, yeah, George is getting his ass kicked. There's no way he's holding his
Yeah.
own against this guy.
Yeah, yeah, George is getting destroyed. Then a big bouncer who reeks of money and singleness grabs Darcy from behind and is like, whoa, 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 Mr. D. We can't be having any fisticuffs in the house of God. and the crowd boos.
Then he picks up George Wickham and goes, "Now kiss and make up." And he's like smushing them together like kids do to toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the next thing you see is him like the wedding takes place outdoors, but the next thing you see is like him throwing them out of a door, almost like a back alley bar scene. Um, and they both are like Wickham and Darcy are now friendly. Wickham like spits out a tooth, and then the bouncer is like, "And don't you ever do that again." And while the bouncer turns around, Darcy goes, "Hey, what's your name anyway?" And the bouncer looks Darcy right in the middle of his eyes and goes, "The name's Bingley. Charles Bingley."
And Darcy takes one arm over Wickham's shoulder, and he can look through the door. And in the door, fancy wedding. Lydia's still there. The amazing crowd is still there.
But it's outdoors.
And it's outdoors. And the crowd is chanting Bingley, Bingley, Bingley. And then Darcy has his arm around Wickham, and they start walking down the alleyway. The
And
Yeah, start walking down the alleyway while there is a sunset behind them.
and right as soon as the sun's setting, we only see Bingley and this guy George. Sorry, we only see Darcy and George, their silhouettes, as we hear a silent, faint uh, word from Darcy going, "You know, that Bingley fella might be a good person to be friends with one day."
And now we're back in Wickham's cell.
Yes, yes, yes. That's exactly where I was gonna go with this.
And Wickham's still in the fetal position, and he's muttering, "Elizabeth, how could you do that? If you had only loved me back, if you had only saved me from Lydia."
and Jane Austen looks at Louis Theroux and goes, "And that's how he got here."
And then finally, Jade Austen keeps walking down the corridor, and she hits some stairs, and she's going up the stairs to a tall tower. And the tall tower, there's 5 doors. And she looks at Thoreau and is like, "And finally, we've made it to the 5 sisters at the top of the tower."
She opens door number 1, nothing there. She goes, "Huh." She opens door number 2, nothing there. She goes, "Huh." She opens the 5th door, nothing there. "Huh." She opens the 4th door, nothing there. But she slowly reaches out to the 3rd door, right in the middle, opens it silently, and as the door opens, we see a scrawny man, like about 4 foot 2 inches, um, hasn't eaten in days, and looks over at the shadowy figure of Louis Theroux and Jane Austen and goes, "Mrs. Bennet, is that you? It's me, Charles." Charles Bingley.
"Oh, Charles, I've known you a long time, and I can't believe how you've ended up. I remember when you were young and single and rich and
We
lived on
see
an estate.
we see a 9 foot tall, muscular, prime of his life, Charles Bingley, standing on the porch of his estate with just a wine glass in his hand. Shout out to the Great Gatsby. Um,
Yeah, like Charles looks out into his estate, and his horse-drawn carriage has a license plate that just says "rich."
but like it's slightly misspelled, so the C is a dollar sign.
Yeah, now the C's a cent sign.
Yes, yes, that's even better. That's even better. Yeah.
And
uh,
he sips he sips his wine, sets it down, and reaches for his breast pocket on his broad shoulders, where he pulls out a cigar and lights it and sits down in the rocking chair behind him.
then from the inside of the house, from his porch, a semi-naked, very clear that she just put a robe on, Mrs. Bennet walks out and and pulls out a cigar from Charles's breast pocket, lights it using his lighter, and sits right next to the rocking chair next to him, and goes, "Don't tell the kids we did this."
Mr. Bingsley says, "Wait, you have kids?"
And that's the end.
Do the outro, Andy.
Okay. This is the outro, and I don't know what to say right now, but this is the outro.
Please subscribe. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Remember, we're bringing you the stories that the authors don't want you to know. I don't know. I was trying to make it something memorable for the out. I don't fucking know, dude.
Now you're overthinking it. You just got me like outro time. Thank you for listening to the stories authors are too lazy to write. That was
The outro?
yeah.
Wait, which part of this is the outro? I don't understand.
Oh my God.
I don't understand. Is this the outro? Is this the ending?
Everything is an ending, Andy. All beginnings are endings. We should just play the intro for the outro.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're now on our next episode.
Yeah.
We just don't have an outro.
Say nice things about us online.
And if you don't want to say nice things about us online, then give it to your friends so at least we can boost that engagement.
Yeah, share, do things. Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, I think we're good for the.
Oh my god.
Thank you for listening to episode 4 of Cliff Notes Continued. We'll be back on January 30th with a whole new book and a whole new story.